Initially, I said this year was going to be my last year on tour, and if I didn't end the year top 100, I was done. And I don't know if that sense of almost freedom is what has helped me have a solid year so far. I think I've tried to become more free off court as well. I've been always obsessed with professionalism. And this year, I think when I'm on the court, I'm obsessed, but when I'm off the court, I'm trying to understand how I can wind back that obsession. I was winning matches because of pure mentality. I'm so stubborn that whatever is being thrown at me, I'm gonna find a way. If I die on the court, I'll die on the court. I know I have a game to challenge people at the top of the sport.
Hi, I am Caroline Garcia.
And I am Borja Duran.
Welcome to Tennis Insider Club. This is a podcast where the top tennis players open up like never before.
From Grand Slam champions to rising stars, they tell their stories in their own words. Subscribe now on your favorite platform and don't miss an episode. Let's get started.
Francesca, thank you so much for doing this episode with us. How did you start with tennis?
I started because my parents, they really have busy corporate life, and they needed to get rid of us for the summer. For them, it was just whatever they could find to send me and my brother or sister somewhere. Honestly, we just drove past a tennis club, and there was this huge sign 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. kids camp. And my dad, I don't think I saw him drive as fast in my life, just straight into the parking, signed us up, and that was it. We were done, and I picked up the racket. It wasn't really massive in that moment, a massive affiliation. I didn't fall in love with it, or I guess the cliche story.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. But I was super competitive, and it was fun to be better than my brother and sister at something so quickly. So that's kind of how I started, yeah.
So when you started, you were better than your brother and sister?
My sister, we did 3 weeks. I don't think she hit the ball on the strings once. And my brother, he's actually not too bad at sport, but he was more like football, and yeah, I basically pursued it because of that.
Nice. When you started taking it more serious, seeing a potential career on it?
Honestly, probably when I was 8. I think I started to do it a little bit more. It was good because I was a chubby kid, so my parents wanted me to do something a bit more active. Because for me, the most important thing at the time was school and studying. Physical, sport, anything wasn't really attractive to me. I loved football, but football also wasn't really accessible for females as much at that point.
Yeah.
And probably I would get a red card every time because I was so aggressive. So yeah, I think at that point I just enjoyed the challenge a little bit, and that's when I kind of said to my parents it could be interesting. And the coaches, I don't think I was necessarily amazing, but they just saw a mentality that was really competitive and determined, so why not at that point?
Nice.
And you moved to Spain to be able to train?
Yeah, because in the UK we still don't have too many places that are established, and I'm from the north of the UK, not we have much more centralized tennis in London than across the country, and I know that that's something that over the years they've tried to change, but it's still very far from where it could be. And at the time tennis was okay, the best places to train was Spain or the US, and I was 10, so I know my parents wanted to get rid of me, but I don't think they wanted to send me that far.
You didn't go with your family?
No.
Okay.
In tennis, just like in life, health is everything. That's why at Tennis Insider Club, we are proud to partner with Hologic, a global leader in women's health. Hologic's mission is simple: to help women everywhere live healthier, longer lives through early detection and innovation. Because when women are strong, the world gets stronger. Learn more at hologic.com.
So my parents stayed in the UK, but the US was too far at that point, so the best options were Spain, and we explored maybe 6, 7 academies.
There's so many.
So yeah, we tried a lot, but again, main thing was still school for me, so we ended up choosing Barcelona because the best options for education, school was still there. And at 10 years old, tennis is professionalized so young in so many ways, and at 10 you should still be very focused, I think, on school and a normal life, and the best option at that point was Barcelona.
Cool. So what was your organization? Like you were going to a normal school or you were doing online schooling?
I was going to a school. But it was made for athletes as well.
Yeah.
So you had a bit of everything. Like you had people who were just studying, but mainly athletes and tennis players, to be honest.
So you were able to still be with the other kids and like have the social life.
And
of
I think
kids.
that's like actually now that we're in New York, like most of my friends end up coming here to work.
Nice.
A lot of them went to uni and then now they're in like corporate jobs. And I think for me, the biggest thing is that I had that access to a classroom and to other kids. And whilst a lot of them still played tennis, they didn't really go to the professional level. So the context of our relationship, maybe it started with tennis, but it wasn't like the protagonist of our relationship, which has allowed me to have like healthy relationships outside of tennis.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty like unhealthy for kids, not to be like like maybe your case, no? Since very early, just like tennis, like too much, and like probably also doesn't allow you to like grow as a human being, mature.
100%.
If it's too much pressure.
I mean, for me, I get concerned a lot. The older I'm getting, the more, and I know I'm so young, but the older I'm getting, the more I do grow like concerned about the kids I see, or like when I think back to my Tennis Europe days and how serious we used to take those matches, how the parents take it so seriously, and they don't have an understanding that what happens there doesn't define what your child's going to be. And there's such a lack of, yes, it's a results-driven sport and you can't escape that. But there's such a lack of understanding of like those moments are shaping your child. And, you know, for young girls who we read a lot of stories, or more and more now, about the young girls who are with these chauvinistic male coaches who have really no understanding of how responsible they are for the development of the kids at that age. For me, it's concerning. So, I think I was lucky that my parents also listened to me a lot. I mean, I had also some bad experiences like that when I was younger and the type of people I was surrounded by. But thankfully, you know, having school friends and a better support system there still, even if my family wasn't there, it helped.
Yes.
So if I understood correctly, when you were there, you met some people who have not always your best interest in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when they see a child or a teenager with I don't know, potential, and I guess with me there's like a different USP in a way. People try and jump on that, and it's difficult to understand who's in your corner and who's not. And I think my parents, they had nothing to do with sport. They had no understanding of sport, and whilst they gave me a lot of accountability, they also kind of listened to the people around them. But am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's so much bullshit out there that my parents probably naively and innocently got sucked into some of that bullshit. And I think I'm lucky that I had parents who also made sure that I had character. So it kind of got to the point that I was understanding, okay, it's not normal that happens. Or I had, even a situation where one of my coach's wives was a psychologist and made me work with his wife, and it's like such a conflict of interest and such a power abuse.
Push her to deliver on court. Forget about
total abuse of power. So then when I see in the National Tennis Center, when I see the younger kids and who they're starting to surround themselves by, whether it's agencies or whether it's coaches or even fitness coaches, physios, like I feel very protective of those people, and I have like a greater concern for the sport in the future, how we can safeguard, because tennis has very little safeguarding in comparison. You look to football, football and like the FA in the UK, and the way that the infrastructure of the sport, it's even though tennis is professionalized so young because of the decisions you have to make at a young age, there isn't a professional infrastructure really like other sports in that context.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's very difficult to, like you say, you have to be a kid, and either like sometimes it's parents who are more involved, but sometimes it's not good neither. My father was very involved in my career, but sometimes he was like, he was not letting me like build my own character, like you say,
Yeah.
your parents were able to, and like let me like have freedom, confident in doing my choices. And at the end, like you cannot build an identity outside of being a tennis player.
Yeah.
You're just like, I was like shy, I was not confident to take decision. And this was like for years, even after when I was like older and I was mentioning that I wanted to have my own team, it was still like there and not allowing me to do it. So it's true, like it's important to find that good adjustment between like,
I guess at 16 years old when the kind of coach that I was mentioning, there's the abuse of power and a couple of difficult situations. I had a conversation with my parents and I was like, look, like realistically, you can either be my parents or you can be like, I don't know, agents or like whatever it is you want to be, but you can't be both.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like they were never pushy ever, my parents. Like they always, as I said, all of their decisions were in my best interest, but they were naive towards professional sport. And they gave me at that point at 16 like full accountability. Like I make my decisions, they just support everything. And from that point, I'm very grateful that they gave me that freedom and independence. Of course, it's difficult to manage because you're 16 and, in a way you're like, I think the way that I run things, it's very much like I'm the CEO of my career and I'm very clear on that and I make the decisions. It's also a lot of responsibility and accountability for a 16-year-old. And it's like your whole career at 16 is in your hands, and how do you manage that? And sometimes it's it's daunting that you make mistakes and it's your fault and you're the one that's failing, and it's a lot easier sometimes to blame other people in that situation. But I'm extremely grateful that my parents allowed me to have that freedom at that point, because I also don't think I would have like the personality and the character that I had. And for me, the main thing was like protecting my relationship with them as well, because if they would have got too involved, I have too much character to give a shit that they're my parents. Like we would argue all the time. Yeah.
And from that freedom and that responsibility you got since 16, what do you think is the best?
Biggest benefit?
Yes, thank you.
I don't know. I think decision making. I think I'm very convicting when I make a decision. And that conviction, I guess, it allows me to be much more businesslike with the way that I try and make decisions with tennis. I'm a sensitive person, which not many people know, but I also try and be black and white with as much of it as possible, because it's such a fine line. Like, we have such close proximity with our coaches and our team all the time. We have a close proximity with even the people on the tour. It's unavoidable. And I think for me, the management of like the emotional connections that you can create, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best thing for your career. I think that management and emotional intelligence that you have to develop in order to run your own business and in order to make the right decisions, I think is the main benefit, the development of the emotional intelligence to read situations, to observe, to analyze, is this relationship giving me what I want or what I need, not what I want? Because sometimes you get what you want, but not what you need, and vice versa. Now I have a team that maybe they don't have the best coaching CV ever seen, but they understand me and they give me what I want and they know what I need because they understand me as a human. And I think that comes first. And I think tennis is slowly changing and developing into that, because before it was like, okay, the coach with the biggest CV who coached, the best players, that's who everyone wants. And I think, I don't want to name names, but I think if you look at the way that things have worked in the tour the last few years, there's a lot of changes and breakups with the big names. Yet you look at Arena and she has two guys that started as sparring partners who are doing an unbelievable job.
Yes.
So I think the observational skills and the understanding of what engagement I need in the different areas of the roller coaster of tennis is probably the best thing that allowed me to develop since my parents gave me that freedom.
That's good.
It's funny because before when we were talking about the episode, Caro told me like, oh, she knows what she wants and she's not afraid of going for it.
I remember I didn't know you too much at that time, but once we practiced Australian Open and it started to rain.
Yeah.
And it was like fully packed indoor. It was like no courts available. And she finds us half of a court, asking people around, hey, can we share with you? Can we share? She was like, it started to rain. I lost her. She went running on the other side. And then I was like, where is she? And then we ended up in the middle, half a court, when everyone was fighting. I was like, oh, great. That's good to know.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but it sounds like something I would do.
It's one more day in her life.
Yeah, probably.
For you, it's like the highlight of your career. Right?
Yeah, like imagining me asking other people to share, like, this is a no-go. This is not happening.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But, having relationships with people on the tour, for me, it's important as well.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take anything to say good morning to people.
No.
It doesn't take anything to ask how people are. It doesn't take anything to grab a quick coffee with someone if they're having a tough time. Like, Ons is really one of my favorite people on tour, and I had probably a lot less engagement with her than you or like the other players who have been on the tour longer. But I look up to her because for me, that's the type of human I want to be. Like when we're on the court, and everyone knows probably more than most, like I will go to the absolute limit on the court and I don't care. But when we're off the court, like we're humans. And I think those are the values that, because I moved to Spain so young, those humble, personable values is something I really learned. And that's like total priority for me. So I always try and make sure that, I'm just one of those people on the tour that if someone needs something, like I'll be there. And I think sometimes I'm trying to learn the balance because I like to help people and I want to be that person. But it's basics. I think it's basics, and sometimes the bubble doesn't allow you to remember that.
True.
Yeah.
Sometimes being on site can be draining. Like it's hard to know who to say hi, who to not to say hi. Someone is nice one day, the day after, it's like they don't know you. It's like why you cannot just put a smile and just be nice. And
I feel sometimes on-site facilities, and especially on match day and everything, if you're like a sensitive person or you like care about the other one, you end up the day. Me, sometimes I arrive and I'm already stressed, like by seeing people, everyone tight, even if it's not my match day. I'm like, can we go back, please?
Yeah. I mean, you need a really huge needle to burst because the bubble is so big, and it's a lot of built up tension. And I think the way that everything happens, it's built up tension. But I mean, for me, when I was injured for a long time, and the first tournament I went back, I remember it was 100K in the UK, in my home country, which sometimes it's not the easiest place to compete. And my best friend on tour is Nadia Podoroska, who is you're very good friends with also. And I remember my first text to her. She was like, "How was the first day back at the tournament? Are you excited?" And honestly, my first text to her was, I forgot how cold the environment is at a tournament, and I feel really out of place. I was like, we seem, sometimes I find that people forget we're not changing the world and we're not saving lives. Like we really need to remember we're painting a yellow ball over the court. And at the same time, I'm terrible at remembering that. I'm totally hypocritical because when I lose a match, sometimes it feels like the end of the world, but then when it comes to environment and the way that people behave, I remember, wow, like we're really not changing the world. Like, come back down, like feet on the ground, come back down.
And that's what he always told me when I was too stressed.
I'm so tired. Just calm down, like try your best. I can understand, of course.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it's like, just relax, you're not curing cancer today. Like.
But I think that's the thing, that when I'm talking about, like, tennis has been professionalized from such a young age.
Yeah.
It's all you're taught. It's like we're taught that this is the most important thing in your life and it's all that matters. And we place so much value on this one, I don't know, concept or a sport, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's a concept, to be honest. We place so much value on it that how are we expected to think otherwise?
True.
You either have parents who educate you that way, or you have like let's say a mentor in your life who reminds you of the right pathway. maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a psychologist, maybe it's like I don't know, an English teacher, like it can be anyone. But unless you have this like fundamental person in your life that reminds you this is not the end of the
you're
world.
not just a tennis player.
No, but the environment is made that way.
Yeah. And in your case, you're lucky because your parents, as you said, they were like not pushing you like tennis. Like if you already have like your family traveling with you, like, and if they win, you win, they're happy. If you lose, they're like angry. It's like, this is unbearable. It's too much.
It is. And so, some people, I guess from the outside, sometimes tennis players can probably come across as actually a huge lack of consideration because we have this huge ego that tennis. But honestly, it's like I don't think it's easy to describe to the outside people.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. Like the sport is made that way, and it's very difficult, as I said, to burst the bubble, like because you're pushed into that bubble even if you don't want to be.
Was it easy for you, your first years, like going from going to school and to an academy to start to play on tour, traveling?
I mean, I guess like my journey has been, I don't want to say unique because it's a cliche word and everyone's journey is unique. But obviously I had a lot of operations. Everything has happened a little bit later for me, I guess. The difficulties have been, how can I describe it? Like the challenges we faced physically have probably not been seen before. And so there's not a formula or a direct answer for what we went through. And I think for me, it was frustrating. I think one of the main emotions I felt over the years was frustration because there was so much that I needed to solve and no one could really truly solve that for me.
In which way? Like physically or?
Physically, yeah, for sure. Physically was a huge thing, like, of course, I have the syndrome and it's no one has really done anything in professional sport with this. And there's a lot of biomechanics that can't be understood about it. I had a nerve injury that not the best neurosurgeon, the best neurologists, I saw like 7 people. I had probably over 10 MRIs for this one injury. No one could understand it. And the biomechanics and my anatomy is unique. So I think us trying to navigate like the challenges was at times overwhelming. And I questioned a lot. I questioned whether I was the problem. I questioned, was science the problem? Like, my overthinking definitely got the better of me in many situations. And I think I was lucky to have the people I had, as I described, those relationships outside the sport probably really, well, not probably, they definitely allowed me to maintain a little bit of sanity. I think my physio, who I've been with for 4 years, we went through that journey together. And I know that he struggled because, he wanted to help me so bad, but he didn't have the answers, and it kind of made him feel small in many scenarios as well. And, don't get me wrong, he could have done a lot better, and I remind him that. But we, we really had to understand how to put the building blocks together. And him and I failed a lot, but we share personal values of reliability and that I think was what helped me continue navigating all the challenges. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's very difficult in those situations. As a under 14s, I was one of the best in the world, and from 2016 to 2000 maybe 19, I had 5 surgeries. And sure, they might not have been like major surgeries, but they were cumulative. And for me, there were small things like when I don't grab the racket, even now, if I don't pick up the racket for 3 days, my grip struggles and I can cramp in my hand. Like there's a lot of physical barriers that they don't faze me. I'm not scared of them, but they have to be managed. And during that period, it's a lot of matches you miss out of. It's a lot of experiences you lose, whether that's like junior slams, whether it's just playing your first 15Ks. And, like when you see other players necessarily like their journey, I don't want to say it's more smooth because I don't know other people's journey and I don't want to undervalue what they go through.
But from the outside, it looks.
But from the outside, maybe it's just more of a natural,
linear
peak,
progression.
more linear progress. It was difficult to manage emotionally for sure. So I guess my first few years on professional tour were difficult, and actually the time that you were describing in Australian Open, that was my first ever slam, and it was the first time, and I qualified for the first time. And I think that slam like really changed a lot for me because I spent so much time observing in a strange way. Like it was so beneficial that we had those 2 weeks of quarantine for me. Obviously I wasn't one of the people that was in the room for 2 weeks, and I've empathized with them massively.
And also like you qualified in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the qualifier were held in Dubai. Yeah. And then only the one in main draw was allowed to go to Australia, do the 2 weeks quarantine.
Which made it more special in a way.
Oh, yeah, it was like, special,
yeah.
You made it like...
But it was like you made the next step. Yeah. That actually, for me, was like more exciting. Like, I'm getting on a plane to Australia. I've never been like.
Yeah, true.
But it was amazing for me because I could observe all of these top players during 2 weeks of training. And Nadia really guided me during that period as well. And I mean, I don't think I would be the player or the person I am without her, to be honest, because I learned so much from her. In fact, I say that, but she beat me 6-1, 6-2 in my first match in Australia. So it was a love-hate relationship at that point.
She could have been a bit nicer
because she had a good practice.
She was training with you, yeah.
She practiced with me.
And then my ball speed came, and she was feeling great. But I think like those few weeks, it really changed my opinion on what I needed to be. But the crazy thing was, like, honestly, I lifted my first ever weights in 2019. I never lifted a weight before I was 19. And then you go into that space, and it's 2 years later, and I'm watching people lift weights, and they've been lifting weights since they were, I don't know, whatever age, and physically so much more established than me. And that was intimidating in a way, but it also made me recognize that, wow, I have so far to go. Like I have a huge physical change that I need to make. And that year, I remember it was September, I think I was ranked like 145, 150. I was winning matches, but I told my parents, and I remember I told my coach at the time, like, physically, I can't sustain this level. Like, sure, I might make it to top 100 if I continue playing this year, but I'm just going to break. Like, I don't want to be top 100 and break and then have to do the whole thing again. Like, I want to be there, and I want to try and stay there because I'm established to be there. And the coach that I had at the time, honestly, I don't think he fully recognized how much the sport has changed, how physical it's become. And so I finished my year in September 21 to do a three-month block.
That's smart.
Yeah, in our sport, we don't have the ability, maybe like Olympic sports, etc., to stop and train. So I was like, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off, and we're gonna train for 3 months. And I think it ended up maybe being like 10 weeks instead of.
Were you not scared about like dropping back in the ranks and stuff?
No, because I was so clear that it didn't like it was. I had a long-term vision.
It's a pretty rare mindset in tennis, no? Like people seem to be like super scared to skip one tournament.
Yeah, but I like with the way that my career has gone, I can't think like other people, and I can't act like other people. So why not be someone that does things differently? And so I tried it. And unfortunately, I was right. Like, I went to the first tournament in 2022. I got injured, and I was out for the full year. And then in 23, I played basically 2 months. And then last year was like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back all the time. But like in a really strange way, like it was a silver lining for me because I just needed to lift weights. Like, I just needed to be stronger. And because of the injuries I had, we were basically only limited to lifting weights and road cycling. Like, there was 2 things that we could do. And it kind of was Groundhog Day for my physio and I. I mean, we did everything together. We went through that whole journey together. And that was the only thing that I needed, though. And I needed to become just much more physically adept to what the sport was becoming. And you look at how people move in today's sport and like in today's tennis in comparison to 10 years ago, and it's it's already super far ahead.
Because people move way faster, so every change of direction are way like stronger on the body.
Yeah.
So like if your muscle are not able to like handle the speed and like the deceleration and then push on the
100%.
other side on a very hard surface, doing like 1 hour and a half or so, or even sometimes practice. At the end practice, you practice 2-3 hours and then you have to repeat. So sometimes you get injured from the practice and then you go to matches where the like intensity
100%.
is way higher. And the goal obviously is to like last longer. So either like 1 or 2 weeks. And like if your muscle are not like strong enough, sometimes it's not like always like lift the bigger weights you can. It's just like you have to lift a certain weight,
repetitive.
Yes, and fast.
Yeah.
You have to be able to like decelerate and then bring a lot of speed again.
100%. And like I think for me, I had zero tolerance. You know, like I couldn't tolerate the physical demands of the sport. Like I was winning matches because of pure mentality, and because I'm so stubborn that like whatever is being thrown at me, like I'm gonna find a way. And if I die on the court, I'll die on the court. Like I know that I actually probably in a strange way. Well, not in a strange way. It's actually very clear. Like it's probably an issue that I need to deal with because, you know, like this year I actually did collapse on the court and that was like, you know, maybe a step too far, but I'm trying to learn my limits to an extent and then ensure that I don't have limits at the same time. So it's a tentative balance. But for sure, like I had no ability to deal with the ball speed that was coming my way. As you said, I couldn't like the changes of direction. My body wasn't made to tolerate that. And I also think there's I used the word before, but there's so much bullshit on tour. There's so many fitness coaches that do all of this like funky exercises because it looks like tennis, or like it just, you know, for their Instagrams and stuff, it looks amazing. But like that's not making me a better athlete. Like what's making me a better athlete is lifting weights, and if I and as you said, like the RFD and the ability to be powerful, but not because I'm doing something on a BOSU am I gonna be a better tennis player. Like we need to change our mentality. So I think for me, finding the right team, finding people that were willing to go through that with me, were willing to do the simples and the simple stuff and the basics well, and like my physio Mario, for him to understand like we actually just need to do the same shit every day for two years to be a better player. Someone that's willing to jump in that like into that space with you. And I think, you know, we always think there's like this secret ingredient and we were looking for the secret ingredient, but we don't need it. Like we just
doesn't exist.
No.
I think everyone is still looking for it.
Yeah, they're still looking for it, and like good luck. Like if you find it, let me know. But I
bottle
think
it and sell it.
yeah, exactly. 100%. I think like with my team, I was really now I'm very lucky, but it took me maybe 2 years to find the right team. The only thing that I got right was my physio at that point, and everything else was like fitting the pieces of the puzzle. I had a couple of experts come in, and they were really beneficial for me understanding what the basics had to look like for me.
Yeah.
And now I have a team that I trust, and you know I know that they're not gonna try this funky stuff with me, and you know, it's you can't get past me with that stuff anyway because I'm a pain in the ass to work with.
I can imagine you so much starting first day with a new trainer. Funky exercise like out, door is out.
I'm like,
I remember the story
please
of
find the door
in Las Vegas when we were with Darren and Agassi's
trainer,
fitness coach. I don't what was his name?
Reyes.
Yeah,
Gil
Gil Reyes. And apparently, like Agassi was nonstop like bullshit. How does this make me a better athlete?
Honestly,
and if the guy didn't know how to respond, why? Like
done.
It was done.
That is literally me in a nutshell. If you can't answer my questions, you're out.
It's
like
same quote as apparently Agassi was asking for every new exercise. Like bullshit. Why does this bring me make me a better athlete?
He was asking always to understand why it will be helping him on court.
Yeah.
And if that was not making any sense, he was like, okay, next.
And that's honestly what happens with me. And sometimes it's quite difficult because, as I said, I've been like that, or I've been growing towards that since I was 16. And for, I don't know, a 45-year-old guy or a 35-year-old man, most of them males, if not all of them, apart from one person at the time was male, to hear someone like that question you, it's difficult for the ego. Well, it's not difficult. It's a total conflict to the ego. And, you know, I touched on before, in our world, there's, well, I guess in the world, there's so many egos. And I found it challenging because they don't understand, like, this is my career. I have a short window and I have to make decisions. And so no matter what your CV says, no matter who you've worked with, if you can't answer my questions, then why are you working for me? Because, you know, every day that I'm not doing what I need to do, I'm A, risking injury, and B, not getting closer to my goal. So how am I gonna achieve what I want to achieve if you don't really understand the reasoning behind what you're doing, or how it's specifically working for me, or how it's going to specifically work for me, you know? And then on top of that, I have the physical differences that need to be understood. There has to be a level of intelligence and a level of depth of thinking to working with me. And
you cannot just go there and
no, you can't. And, you know, especially when, as I'm saying, I'm a 19-year-old that's never picked up a weight at the time, you know, like, there's so much to be done, and prioritization is very difficult when I have so much to improve. And that's one of my biggest challenges, and it always has been, that people haven't understand how to prioritize what I need to improve physically, because there's been so much. And again, like, you know, if you can't explain the background to me, and you can't defend yourself, like, I don't have time to waste with you. And I'm sorry, like, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're bad at your job. It doesn't mean you're bad at your job, but it's just, for me, not enough at that point.
It's true. We also, coming back to Darren, no, he was like saying that players should ask way more questions before. He was talking about coaches, no, but like, not like, oh, he coached someone, so it's like, just come to my team, and like, pick the phone and start asking the tough questions, no, like, or Wim, no, I think Wim, he said when he started working, I don't know, with Kerber, I think he did a video showing her like how he thought he had to evolve. That was like, he did a pitch to her. Like, this is how it should work, not just like hiring someone because I think it's gonna work. Like, ask the questions before. No?
100%. But again, like, how many people truly can cope with being interrogated and understanding that it's, you know, this is what I say about the safeguarding of sport. And I think it's the benefit that my parents don't come from that. My parents aren't going to just hire someone for the sake of it.
Exactly.
You go through an interview process. You go through sometimes an 8 to 10 stage interview process.
It's not because on my CV says Harvard that I'm going to get hired on every...
Exactly. And then you get the job. Like, you can't just expect to rock up and take a role, but it happens in our sport. There's, you know, how is it possible that we have, you know, people that aren't physios saying that they're physios, and they get away with it because they've worked with this person at an academy 20 years ago, and then, you know, just because they know how to do a sports massage or this and that, suddenly they get a job. Like, it's amateur. Our sport, in that sense, it's amateur. Whereas, as we were saying, like, in any other corporate role, you don't get away with that. You're never going to get away with that.
Maybe it's something that should be taught more, no? Like, on a younger age for athletes, especially individual, like, athletes, no? To like, hey, like, at the end you're like a small company, so you need to learn the art of hiring people, asking the right questions, the tough questions, no? But it's true, like, most of people feel very uncomfortable to go to a coach and say like, okay, why, whatever, you know, like, ask the tough questions.
But that's the abuse of power that I think... That's what I'm trying to... that's what I'm hoping is shifting, because, as I said, I used Arena's coaches as examples, but I think it's shifting slowly. I want it to be quicker, to more accountability from the athlete. But because there's these abuses of power at such a young age in more than one way, and it's worrying, there's not a culture where the player can ask. You know, a lot of the time, the coach, as I said, is often a male figure. You got to do what they say. And the agent of the 13-year-old is telling you, I put that coach in place, you do what he says. And it becomes like a habit. It becomes a habit that you have to follow the lead of this person. But why? Why are you not the leader? Why are you not the one taking accountability for your career? And it's crazy, because our sport, in so many ways, it's character building. But then the character isn't applied in that particular format.
It's true. It's true that on court you're supposed to... I mean, on court you're the only one who is able to make decision, and like, is like break point down and has to choose if it goes down the line or cross.
Yeah.
But sometimes like on your outside life, outside of tennis, or like how you build your team, people don't let you sometimes like take a decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was last week, no? Someone like on TV said that they didn't knew, like, oh, I have a new coach, but I don't know his surname. Like this is like a very bad like thing. Like someone, first of all, someone hired for him. Like you probably didn't have a chat with that person. That's not the right dynamic.
But we're also in a sport where, like, equally when we're talking about how amateurish it is, there's no contracts with so many people as well, And like that's mind blowing to me as well, because how do I feel protected and how does the coach feel protected? How do they get a mortgage? Sometimes I consider these things, because it's so volatile. The sport is so volatile. So I see it also sometimes from the coach's point of view that, if the player's done with you, they're done. And because so many of them don't have contracts and stuff, then the coach is left to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's the volatility of the sport isn't tamed. It needs to be tamed.
Interesting topic.
Yeah. In the tough years in your career, were you afraid you were never going to make it?
Yeah.
Not because of your capability on the court, but
yeah, no, I was. I questioned myself a lot. Like, I know I have this do or die mentality. I know I have like a really strong willpower because I had to put myself through a lot. But I did question, I still, to this point, like we all have self-doubt. And I think anyone that tells you they don't is just hiding behind the facade. It's not realistic. I think for me, the challenges have always been physical. I knew that I had a tennis ability, and I felt like my game was good enough to be there, and my understanding of tennis was, I think I've had to think of tennis from such a tactical standpoint because of maybe the lack of physicality. I either understood how to play the player or I had no chance. But the physical side it wasn't backing me up for so long. And to be honest, at the end of last year, I was the closest to quitting I've ever been. It was strange. I think I played like 15 tournaments. I retired from 7 and I was still ranked like 140. And people were telling me that, which I get. 140 as a number isn't a great number, but when you put the context in it, it was still quite a solid effort considering. But I had so many retirements and I got tired of seeing that on my profile. When I was a kid, I used to say, I'm never going to retire. Like, I'll die on the court, I'll never retire. You'll never see me retire. I'm learning how unrealistic that was. But, I was a kid, I can dream. But I think for me, honestly, again, Nadia was a big reason as to why I kept going at the end of last year. I spent 2 weeks of my preseason with her. And I tried to split my time between preseason and also trying to have days off where it was like in my own headspace. I went hiking in Patagonia one day and I met someone. I met a woman who had no idea what tennis was really, and just spoke to her about life. Like I needed these wholesome moments, and it sounds cliche because I'm not gonna say that woman changed my life because she didn't. but equally, I think that those experiences and having someone so close to me on the tour who's older than me, I love to remind her that she's older than me, kind of just discussed the challenges that she's faced and discussed how over time she's had to jump over barriers. I think that's really helped. But I think honestly it was just what if. I have a mentality of what if, and that happens, from a negative point of view. I think, okay, what if this changes? Like I just won two 125s and I'm like, okay, what if I lose this momentum? But at the same time, in that moment, I was like, okay, but what if you do it? Like, what if you do it? Then how are you going to feel then? And so initially I said this year was going to be my last year on tour. And if I didn't end the year top 100, I was done. And I don't know if that sense of almost freedom from the attachment to what I needed to be actually is what has helped me have a solid year so far. I'm still, I guess, trying to analyze that and reflect on that. I think I've tried to become more free off court as well. I've been always obsessed with professionalism. So what's the right way to train? What are my numbers on the GPS units? I'm on court and I'm shouting at my fitness coach and my physio, like, have I moved enough today? Like, have I done enough today?
Did I burn enough calories?
Yeah. But like, how many changes of direction did I do? Like, how many kilometers have I covered on the court? Like,
wait, I want to go next to a quote of Fran in US Open. I think it can be burnout.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I get concerned if a camera ever followed me, what they would think of me. But I'm obsessed with it. And this year, I think, when I'm on the court, I'm obsessed, but when I'm off the court, I'm trying to understand how I can wind back that obsession. I've never been clubbing in my life. I've only been to concerts, and all of those things are like, I used to consider as jeopardizing my career. It's like, it's wrong to do that. It's wrong to have a drink. I don't think I had alcohol until I was 21. I would try like one little bit, and I was like, no, like, it's like, I can't do that. It's bad for my career, And last night I went out in New York. I had 2 cocktails. Like, I'm trying to allow myself to live my life in that way, but make sure that I'm not stepping over the line in both. But I guess I'm still understanding how I find that balance. It's cliche work-life balance, but
it's important.
It's so important. It's so important.
Yeah. I mean, on the thing of like too professionalism and sometimes like wanting to do like everything perfect, even like the food. Like, I remember at one point, like, I did blood test and I was like intolerant to like gluten and milk and like many other things. So I wanted to be like, okay, I'm eating like gluten-free milk and everything. Yeah, I was like, maybe I lost a bit like of fat. I was a good weight, but after it became too hard, I was like a desperate human.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I mean, after it's so hard to go to restaurant, and then you're having always the same food when you're traveling. Yes, when you're back home, it's easier, but if not, when you're outside, it's so tough. And now, like, I look a bit, but I eat whatever I want, and I'm in the best weight ever.
Yeah.
And I don't have much more injuries than I had before.
Yeah.
My mind is in a way better place.
Yeah.
And if I want that pizza, I'm just gonna have that pizza.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, optimizing is very cool, but if it costs you being miserable, it's not worth it. So you have to know when, like, it's too much.
Well, I mean, happiness, it's a state of mind, and it's a momentary state of mind a lot of the time. But when you can find it, you need to try and be in it as long as possible. I think, when I say professionalism, maybe it's because it's such a generic word. Maybe the best way to put it is hard work. Like, I became obsessed with how hard can I work on a court, how hard can I push myself on training, how I always wanted to do more, and I would never say no to doing more. And that's, a big thing that my team this year are trying to manage with me. And I think, food's probably the one thing that I've always been more lenient with, because for me that is my happiness. I'm such a foodie. I have restaurant lists across the world, and I want to try the right stuff. So for me, I've always been like, okay, I know I need carbs before I play,
whatever,
and the basics, but I've never been like, okay, I'm gonna have chicken, no sauce, vegetables, and rice for the rest of my life. Like, that's probably the
but
one
it's an
thing.
example of how far sometimes you can go in your mind
100%.
to believe it's gonna be better for your practice.
100%, and yeah, that obsession. It's not. I don't think obsession is ever a positive word.
No.
And I think that's where, for me, I'm trying to understand at what point do I need to obsess, and what point of the day do I need to obsess, and then at what point of the day can I just live my life.
So now your team is pushing you sometimes to train less?
Yeah, for sure. Because there's days where I'm exhausted, but I'm like, okay, maybe these extra 2 sets are gonna make a difference to me. An extra 2 sets on the bike, and I'm still not good at accepting it. I actually, one point, my strength and conditioning coach this year, Steve, he was like, okay, well, you can go to the gym, but I'm not coming with you to do the bike session because you shouldn't be doing it. So if you want to go, fine. And that was probably the worst point this year where I was like, okay, if the guy is actually saying, like, it's literally his job, he gets paid to do this, and he's telling me I'm abandoning you, you're not doing it, I'm probably getting something wrong. So I was like, okay, fair enough, you dealt with that the right way. But yeah, for me, I just always want to keep improving, and so I think I haven't fully understood, and it's definitely still a downfall that, you know, doesn't mean that more is right. So sometimes less maybe is more, and I'm trying to understand it.
It's paying off so far, no, this season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in some ways it is, but at the same time, like I don't think I've really processed much of this year yet. I think when I'm done at the end of the season, then maybe I'll value the fact that, wow, last season I was about to quit, and then, you know, hopefully I'll be flying to Australia in January to be playing majors, and that's a big shift. But I think, you know, the season doesn't allow you to kind of stop and process. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a weekend in Ibiza literally the weekend before, but I'm still, you know, even when I'm on a boat in Ibiza, I'm still thinking about US Open, you know, like I mean, yeah,
It's hard not to,
understandable, and it's
yeah.
understandable. I mean, it's not because you think about it. It's like an obsession always.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
Well, it's the balance, no? It's like I go to Ibiza and I can still care about my work, and it doesn't mean that I have to go there and just forget and be drunk today. It's like you can do both things.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't drunk, but
no, I know. No, I think
but
like
actually,
that's the balance. Like you can go on holidays and still be responsible, take care, like care about your. It's US Open, of course. You worry about it.
But to be honest with you, like on Sunday, I drank the most I ever drunk in my life. Like I still I wasn't drunk, but I was still like testing myself.
She was tipsy.
Yeah, I was tipsy. I was testing myself, you know. And then I jumped in the pool at midnight, and I was like, "This is actually like I'm getting somewhere." But for me, my freedom off the court, it's baby steps. Like I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean that's how it's supposed to work also.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to push myself to just live a bit more of a normal life when the timing's right. So I'm getting there, but still a long way to go.
Nice.
And what is, so now you entered 100.
Yeah.
You said earlier like you didn't really like came back on your year so far, but like what is your next goals now? How do you see things?
I mean, I know I have a game to challenge people at the top of the sport. Like I know that I have a game style that's difficult to play. I know that I have a mentality again, like I will suffer as long as I need to suffer on the court. And so, you know, I don't care about how many hours I need to be there, how many matches and weeks I have to play. But I know that in comparison to a lot of players, like I can push myself week in, week out, and it doesn't bother me. For someone that's so impatient off the court, like I can't wait for like a burger if I have to wait for a burger. On the court, I'm surprisingly patient. So I think I compensate for what I have on the court, off the court. So for me, I'm hoping, you know, that I can continue to play a full season this year and then maintain that next year. And I think the first priority is to play the full season because hopefully if I finish this year with the kind of momentum that I've had in terms of weeks played this year, then it will be my first full season in my career ever. And the first priority will be to back that up with consecutive years. You know, like obviously from a numbers perspective, the next main like milestone would be top 50, but I'm not thinking like that. I don't think it's the right way to think. You know, you can probably tell me you have way more experience than me, but I think my goal is just to keep being better, and like that hopefully will then do the job. I want to challenge and win matches and slams, but you know, for me, it's just like taking it week by week at this point.
Yeah, no, it's like when we hear you say it and you say like at 24, you were never able to play a full season. It's like, I mean, it's quite something. First, respect to be where you are because it's very hard, and like all the doubts you probably went through, and seeing like people you played against in like tennis Europe or junior, climbing the ranking and everything. And yeah, I would say like first priority is like health and like keep playing all year long and understand like the calendars, the ups and downs, and like for sure it's gonna be paying off.
Yeah, I hope so. Like it was funny this year. I passed qualies in Madrid, and I played Diana on year.Seven for the first round, and we used to play each other like under 12s, under 14s, and then she like boosted high very quickly. And I mean, it was a pain in the ass. I lost like I think it was 6-4 in the third. I was very close, long match, and it was kind of like in a strange way like a full circle moment to be playing her in a Masters, because I was like, okay, I kind of finally am in a place where I'm back to playing the people I want to play.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm not going to tell you what she said at the net because that's between her and I, but I was really grateful for how she kind of dealt with that conversation, because I think there was almost in a strange way a recognition from her that it was a full circle moment for me. So yeah, I mean, I feel really privileged to be in the position I am now. And I feel privileged to have the relationship and the experience on tour that I have with the people but with the players and with the staff. And I think hopefully I can just continue to experience it in the way that I have this year for next season.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, keep controlling what you can control, no? Which is like to keep working hard, keep trying to get better every day, and obsessing on rankings or tournaments is not like probably the healthiest approach to tennis, kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm still learning it, but I certainly massively made that change this year for sure. Like today the draw came out. I didn't even know the draw came out, like 3 years ago I would have been refreshing the page like every few minutes and I'd be the first person to know. But yeah, like even picking the tournaments now, I don't even pick based on the list or whatever. Like I'm like, okay, actually I want to play here. It's a cool city. Like let's go.
Nice.
And like the environment that I'm putting myself in is going to be one where I'm more comfortable and I'm happier. So hopefully that gets the best out of me.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, learning still.
Nice.
No, but I mean, at the end, you keep learning obviously until your life, but until the end of your career, you learn so much.
Yeah.
Like, and also it evolves. What you pay off when you were 20 years old, maybe will not pay off anymore when you're like 29, 30.
Yeah.
But like, it keep evolving, like.
Like
waiting for the draw maybe a couple months ago to now, like, don't give a shit. And it's like, who cares, It's like,
and also like, women's tennis is so unpredictable that I think draws are just irrelevant now, like anything can happen. And I try and see that from the positive side of things. But I don't know, like tennis it's such a strange world that we live in, and like I'm just learning little bits, but I try and ask a lot of questions, like I ask the better players, the older players, as much as I can because I'm curious. I try and be inquisitive about it. And I like to have those conversations and understand other people's point of views and see what I can learn from them. And you know what? Like I'm also wrong in saying that it's older players, because I like having conversations with anyone. I don't care if they're younger. I don't care if they're lower ranked. Like it doesn't matter. Like I think I can learn from every single person. I don't think a number defines that I know more than you or I am better than you. I don't see it like that. I just see it as like a constant evolution or personal evolution, and so yeah, I just try and be curious and I think take other people's experience as well to the best of my ability and apply it to myself.
Nice.
Yeah, that's quite true. I mean, everyone's experience is different, and sometimes someone will go through that experience at 20 and someone else will go at 25. So maybe if you spoke to that person, you will be able to learn that earlier.
Yeah. But it's kind of, it's like almost frowned upon in our sport to like discuss those things with other players, because we're supposed to like maybe, I don't know, people maybe think we're supposed to hate each other or we're supposed to not engage. But I mean, I don't see it like that. If a player asks me how I feel about something, I'm an open book. I'll explain like what's the point of lying?
Yeah, fair
like,
no, I think so too.
Yeah,
it's not like I've been told you could not be friends with other when you were on tour, especially when I was younger. So between that and the fact that I was sometimes shy when I was younger, for me it was very hard to make connection.
Yeah.
So I was just like staying in my own world and like closing up. And now that I grow a lot, he also helped me a lot to like open my eyes. Sometimes it's nice, like sometimes when I'm practicing, the moment I'm more looking forward to is when we are having a break and a bench break, you know. It's like, so what have you been up to, you know, like talking about life and everything. Sometimes now it's what I'm more looking forward to. It's like just chatting, you know.
At the beginning, I asked you, so who's your best friend? It was like, I've been always told I cannot have friends on tour. Like,
well, I have good relation, but it was just like
very cordial.
I think, but don't get me wrong, it's difficult. It takes two people. And it's not your responsibility, just solely your responsibility.
But it's not because it's your friend or you have a good relationship, you cannot compete against that person after. It's two different things, or it should be the two different things.
I mean, you know, my relationship with Nadia is arguably the most important that I have, like in my life, you know, like because I've learned so much from her, and from a friendship perspective, like, it's arguably been the most important to my career. But again, it takes both of us. And, you know, we played each other on multiple times, and you know, she absolutely destroyed me in the final last year, which she reminds me of all the time. And it's really
that's what
annoying.
Good friends are.
Yeah, exactly. It's really annoying. But you know, after the final, we sat in her room, we ordered food, and we just chatted, like not even about tennis, you know. And it takes two people, honestly. And you know, I have a close relationship with Emma as well, and I think again, like, it's both of us understanding that we have to be comfortable in vulnerability, but also just recognizing that we have vulnerability, so why hide from it? Because it's pointless. Like, it's unrealistic to consider that that's not the case.
But I mean, I feel the newer generation is more open,
possibly,
between each other than the one I arrived to, for sure. So that's for sure a change, and I think it's also what women's tennis needed.
I agree.
I think it's very different than what it used to be.
You know, well, one of my current coaches is Lourdes Dominguez. So she was playing. She was, I think she was top 50 as well, and she, you know, she kind of expressed that to me as well. I was lucky, I guess, because I grew up also when I was 16 and I took accountability. I changed where I was going to train. And I trained with Sakari for a year and a half, and then I trained with Sara Sorribes for another like 2 years. And I mean, I was very lucky because they're two very good human beings, and they treated me like their little sisters, or their little sister. And I think, you know, I owe so much to them because they were two of the most hardworking people on tour, but at the time I didn't know that. So then I thought, holy shit, if this is the standard, like, what the hell? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm done.
Probably was not the standard. It was not the standard.
But I was like, I mean, I need to find another job. Like, I'm going to university because I have zero chance of, like, you know, Maria is doing like monkey bars for fun in you know, she's ridiculous shape, and she could do 6 hours on the court and still like not break a sweat. And then
and I mean Sarah.
Sarah was like, you know, okay, she would be sweating double than anyone else, but she would still deal with it and zero complaints, you know? So
competitiveness of Sarah is unreal.
Yeah, unbelievable. And but they welcomed me with open arms. You know, I was annoying little, probably cocky 16-year-old, and they put me in my place. You know, every time I was late for training, and it's the one thing that I'm very open about. I'm terrible with timing. Like Maria would be like, so what happened today? And I'd be like, no, because I couldn't find parking for my car. And then Sarah, when I was late, she would be like, okay, now I'm gonna move you like you're never seen before on the court, you know? Like they really taught me a lot. So I think my experience with I guess top players at a young age was positive, and so I guess that was something then I tried to replicate. Not that I'm a top player, but I tried to replicate it in the way that I would behave with other players. So I'm very appreciative to them for giving me that experience as well from such a young age.
Nice.
Which advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't take things so seriously from such a young age.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Everything, you know, I think back to the matches that I cried, and I think back to the times where, you know, I probably told my parents to F off, you know, or like, or when I didn't speak to anyone. And yeah, from a young age, I took it too seriously. And yeah, I wish that I could go back and like give that kid a different experience, because it definitely, you know, as I said, it's only this year really that I've started to allow myself a different sort of freedom. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you figured it out at 24.
Yes,
Some
I was
people
gonna
figure it out
say
at
same.
50. So like now you have like 10 years ahead of you on tour
Yeah,
to
you have
enjoy
still many
life,
years
yeah.
on tour to be able to enjoy it
Yeah.
with a good balance, if you believe it's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I really, I hope so. I hope that I keep listening to myself in those situations, because it's so easy to say right now. I'm very aware I'm in a good place right now, and it's easy for me to say it, but the challenge is going to be staying true to that when
It's not
When you
gonna
lose
be
for 2 months in a row, kind of, to
Yeah.
stay positive.
it's not gonna be probably like every day like the good balance. Some days are going to be better than other, but if your team and yourself like have it like as a mantra, everything is gonna be paying off for sure.
Yeah, and I hope that, you know, the relationship that I have with the players as well, I can keep learning from them and observing them, because I learn a lot from everyone, to be honest, and I try and openly watch a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
thank
Yes,
you
it
guys.
And
was
your
awesome.
honesty was great.
Oh, it's been super fun. Thank you.